Welcome back, Snack Pack, to another new game for the channel. Today we are delving into Gold Rush. Now this is a gold digging game, essentially, as you could probably tell by the title. And it's based off of the Gold Rush Discovery Channel show, which is actually a really cool show. It's created by Code Horizon, which I don't think I've seen anything from them as far as I know. I may have played something before, I don't know for sure. And as you can maybe tell, I am playing with a controller, so it may take a minute or two to get used to, but I think I should be okay. So let's go ahead and get in. We will start a brand new season, and these art styles in between these little loading screens is so cool. But yeah, and the main focus on this one today is just getting our whole operation set up to begin with, I guess you could say. And some of the loading screens in here are a little bit wonky. They do take a little bit to load. I kind of lowered the graphics down just a tad. I can run it at ultra fine. One of the loading screens from where you have to go to town kind of drains out for a minute. I mean, it takes probably like a solid minute for it to actually load. So you just kind of start out here. This is the basic tutorial kind of thing. Yes, we know there's two different ways to get information, and some of this I do actually have to use my mouse for, which is rather frustrating. But what we're going to be doing is right over here, Tier 1, we got to go to the bank, and we have to rent the old Arnold parcel claim, then go to the warehouse and get all of our stuff, which we will end up loading in our pickup, which is right here. And I actually really like this truck. This truck is really cool. It's a U.S. Army truck too, which is awesome. And we will end up coming over to this guy's house all the time because that is the blacksmith, now that I think about it. So you can go out here. Yes, I know we got to take everything off. You start the engine, and it's actually not that loud right now, which is interesting. So let me see if I can change that a little bit because I want the engine sounds back on. Music volume, we'll go ahead and apply all of that and then go back, see if that changed anything. No, not really. Maybe it's because, okay, maybe it's just while you're inside, which I really don't like driving inside the truck, but we'll do a nice parallel park right here. And we will run over here. This is the bank in the town, which has absolutely nobody in it. There's police cars, there's a bunch of places where you can go, but there is nobody in this place. So we will go ahead and rent the old Arnold parcel. We don't really want to take out a loan just yet. And you can kind of see the stock, how the gold prices go up and down throughout the year. I don't know exactly if it's like a term kind of thing or not, but let's go ahead and hop back in our truck, I do believe. Yeah, that sounds about right. So we went ahead and rented our little parcel, which we will go out there here shortly, but first we need to stop by the warehouse right here. And we'll park our truck, actually, we'll back it up right about there. And you always need to remember to put the parking brake on. This truck does like to roll away, strangely enough. So this is the warehouse. We won't get to this stuff on this side just yet, but we will be messing around with this kind of thing. So this is the first things that you'll have to get, which we can see over here in the journal. We need the hog pan no pump, the hog pan sluice box, core, which is this big thing, 2 hog pan mats, and a bucket. Now we can go hog pan no pump. Let's go ahead and grab you. And we need 1 of you. Okay. And we need the sluice box core. 1 of you. Okay. We don't need either of these just yet. We will need the water pump whenever we're able to get the one with the pump, because as you can maybe see, well, there's like a pole right here which will run water in it automatically. We need 2 of you. And those are the little mats that actually catch everything. I don't think we need anything else, really. Because there's nothing else that you actually have to put into it. But just to make sure, and then I'm not losing my mind. Oh, yep, a bucket. I forgot about the bucket. How did I forget the bucket? So this is just the basic setup that you have to get. We only have $224. It costs $155 to start up, which actually isn't really bad. And it actually tosses all of our stuff outside, right over here. And they're actually nicely lined up too, which is really cool. So you can kind of pick the stuff up and you just toss it in the back of your truck there. Now this thing is a pain to get in, but I can actually possibly set it right there for now. Let me lower that, and then I'll get in here and pick it up. Hopefully no crazy glitches happen. Sometimes they do happen, so yep, I'll just set it right there. We'll get our mats and our bucket, and then we will head off to our claim. Now you do kind of got to be a little cautious while driving this truck because, and I've actually put a review on Steam for this game where I've been playing it for a little while. As you can see, you kind of get a little squirrely, so it's not got the best gripping tires, I guess you'd say. So like if you're not paying attention, you can take a corner going just like 5 miles too fast, or 5 miles per hour too fast, and you'll end up spinning the whole truck around. Or you can do it on purpose and pull the the parking brake and do it that way. But that's not very logical either. So let's go ahead, and I will go ahead and pop you right over here because I know where we need to go, and it is right over here in a way. But first, before we get all that set up, this is our beautiful little fire, which is awesome. Too bad you can't like sit down by it, which would be really cool. But we do have our own little tent, a couple little odd and end things set up around here. This little tablet thing we can take alone. We will eventually be able to unlock the workers and everything else, and the transport, which we will get eventually. That does take a little while because it does cost $3,000 to be able to unlock both, or each of those. So let's go ahead and take this gigantic bucket, and can I hop the fence? I can. Now you kind of start off over here. I'll go ahead and drop this down there. It will end up making you put the thing right here, I guess, on this pre-generated area. And then you just need to dig out this place right here, which actually does take quite a while. But it won't take... Whoa! There goes my bucket. Thank you. So let's go ahead and toss you down there. You do have to put that part down first, I'm pretty sure, because it will take a... You have to put it down so you can add this part to it. Now, where did my other mat go? I'm pretty sure it flew out too. Which I really hope I don't have to go buy another one. I mean, they're cheap, so I'm not super worried about it. It's around here somewhere. Let's go ahead and grab you. And then you put these on here. There's gonna end up being 4 areas where you can put things. But, dang it, I'm pretty sure I lost my mat. Which is rather frustrating, but let's see, is there anything over here? Is it under the truck? Which happens quite a lot, unfortunately. No. Okay, well, I guess I may have to figure out where the mat disappeared to before we do anything. Okay, so after running back to town and getting this other mat, we're now able to start working, essentially. And actually, I forgot one other thing. Not from the store, but from over in our tent that will make us be able to actually get anything. Our little pan. Our gold painting pan. So, and I'm sure I'll end up finding that mat somewhere around here. But, you know, stuff likes to disappear. Sometimes it gets a little wonky. So let's dip that in there, get enough water, and then we will go from here. I'll actually move the bucket to over here, because we will need that in just uno momento. So you kind of have some tools. You've got a general flashlight, you've got your basic just hands to where you can grab stuff, and then you've got your shovel, which you will need to process stuff through this, and it'll tell you kind of how much you've got in there. So as for instance, we'll go ahead and toss a shovel load in there. Got 10%. Every shovel should be theoretically 10%. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it works out a little weird. So let's go ahead and fill this up, and then we can get to separating it out, which actually the filling up part doesn't take that long. I mean, it is 10 scoops all together to get to 100%, and then it goes running through, which we will see with some water to go onto those little pad things that I had to run back and get one of. And then we can actually separate it out from there with the big water thing right here and our little gold pan. So let's go ahead and run this up to 100%. We will switch back over to our hands. And in part of my review on Steam for this game, the glitchiness with walking through the little muck over there, it is kind of a hassle, because if you can get stuck on like the smallest part of like ground that you haven't dug up yet, and it's really, really annoying. So, and technically, now that I think about it, so which I'll get to this here in a second, but as you see, for 100% of dirt that we put in here from this area over there, washing it through, we get 4%. I think sometimes it comes out 5%, but it runs about the same as you do it. But what I was going to say is, now that I think about it, technically you can start off mining without having to get all of this stuff right here, because technically all you need is a bucket, because you've already got a shovel. It's constantly on hand, which I really don't know why it's constantly on hand, but it's helpful. And as you can see, whenever I do take a scoop, you can actually put it into the bucket, and as long as there's water there, you can pour it out into the little pan over there and actually pan out the gold that's in it from that point. You don't technically have to run it through all this process, but it's a lot easier if you run it through this process. So let me go ahead and get this scoop, and then we will see if we can't find us a little bit of gold. I mean, there's not a whole lot to be found early on in the game. Once you get a little bit, then you can actually upgrade your stuff to where you get that extension, get the other pads in here. Makes it a little bit better. And I kind of wish if you dropped it into the water, it would actually fill it back up, but that would pose a problem if you had gold in here, and yeah. So now we've got 8% in both of these. We will go ahead and fill this back up with water, and I'll actually just set it right there. And then you take these out and you dunk them in this bucket, and I think you can only dunk it once, but I like to try a second time just to make sure. So we'll grab this first one here and dunk it as well, and you can see that the water gets a little bit brown to say the least. And then you just take it over here, you dump a little bit into the little pan, which you get 4 pans per bucket full. And you just lower it into the water, get some water, and then you shake it all around, and you can see how the water starts to turn brown. And you dunk it a little bit more, you can shake it around a little bit more. You can kind of see a piece of gold in there, right there, the little yellow spot. And one trick that I actually learned is you can dump it off to one side, and usually all the rocks will go off before the gold will, and the gold will actually stay up there. And then you hit L3, I'm pretty sure it is, just the left stick's in button, technically, to go into the digging mode, or as you can see over there, the L stick. Yeah, you can rotate everything around, move it up and down. So now that we are done with that load, we will exit the panning mode. We'll set it back down and try again, and we'll see how much we get out of these 4 scoops just from 8% on the mats. Alright, so after that last pan, we are up to 0.059 ounces. So not quite a whole lot. I mean, we're not even at 0.1 ounce yet. We're still a little bit away from that. But that is kind of the basics, basic setup to begin with in this game. Everything runs fairly well with most of the things. I have had a glitch or two come out whenever I was playing in my own time, which I've played for like 8-9 hours or so, just in my own time. Now this little camper over here is ours as well, and you can go in there and you can sleep for a certain amount of time. Most of the time, if I do sleep, I just sleep whenever it starts to get dark out, because it makes it really difficult to see. And I'll just sleep till dawn, that way I can see in the next morning. But what I was gonna say is there is areas down here where we will eventually put other things. This is the big part of the setup down here. There is a stage in between, which I can actually show through the journal. So we're in tier 1, which it shows where you can set everything up and how you pan and all that stuff. Now tier 2, you get the mobile wash plant, the magnetite separator, you get some more buckets, water pump and generator, and the cords and cables and stuff like that, and hoses. And then you go and you get a small excavator, because you can't put shovelfuls in this thing. It just won't work. It's too tall. So then you go and set all that up, and then you just start shoveling it in, separate it through the magnetite. But the big thing is this whole wash plant, the actual wash plant. And then eventually you'll have to get the wave table, which we will probably get at this stage because it helps out a ton. That way we don't actually have to separate it ourselves. But yeah, all this stuff costs a crap ton of money. So at that point we'll probably end up getting a loan, which you can do from the bank. And make that a little bit easier, a little bit more cost effective technically. I love how this step 7 at the end of tier 3 is just profit, because at that point you are just making a crap ton of money. And this is the kind of things you can get, different vehicles, and you can, of course, you start out with your truck, which will eventually, I guess, run down the battery and the fuel filter and the wheels. I haven't personally had it happen in my spare time, but I guess it's possible. You get the fuel tank, you can get trailers to help you transport stuff back and forth. The small excavator, which is for the tier 2, and they also have a big excavator, which is huge. But it takes all this stuff, and some of this stuff is consumable, some of it's not, but I haven't got to anything breaking yet. I'll say yet because I haven't got there. Front end loader, bulldozer, the mining machines, the wash plants. There's the big wash plant with the trommel, the jig, the giant power generator. There's different pumps, magnetite separator. The wave table actually is really handy, because whenever you get everything separated out, and you have, especially in this, you have a bucket of gold, essentially. It's not a full bucket of gold, so I mean it kind of is a little misleading there. But then you take it over to the the wave table and turn it on, get all the water hooked up, electricity hooked up to it, and you pour the bucket in there, and then it separates and gives you gold automatically. So you won't really have to worry about it, or have to actually go in there and pan for it. Kind of tells all the places. So yeah, I haven't really looked through all that a lot. But yeah, that's just the basics. Just trying to see how this series will go. I know there's a couple of different YouTubers playing it. I know Blitz is playing it. Dragas is playing it, which is awesome too. Who was the other one? Oh, Gray Still Plays is playing it, which his series cracks me up every single time he does anything. So I hope you guys did enjoy. If so, don't forget to let me know by leaving a like. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.